and welcome back to season 6 of the Film versus Film podcast. I am your host and the reigning season 5 champion, Quinn Boys. I have multiple personalities inside my mind at any given time, and I am joined, as always, by the season 5 loser, my co-host. His crazy matches my crazy. It's Lemon Smiths the Third. Lemon, how's it going, buddy?
My name is not Lemon Smiths the Third.
Did I get that wrong?
No, it's Leonard Smith Jr.
Oh, that's my bad.
Oh yeah, that's right. Is
Is
this my punishment?
That is part of your punishment.
That's part of my punishment
for losing season 5. Is I get to intro
God
you.
damn.
I intro you anyway, but I'm going to intro you wrong.
Champion Quinn Boys.
That's right.
We back to back.
Seasons 4 and season 5. That's right.
3-peat.
Correct.
You're not getting a 3-peat.
I don't think that's right. Actually, we're
Wait,
going to
you
go
won
back and do
season
the
one?
math because I won the first one.
And then I
and
won
then you
back
won
to
3 in
back.
a row, and then I won.
Is it? Oh yeah, it's season 6.
This is season 6.
Damn it! All right.
It's not a math podcast. That's okay.
It's okay. There's going to be no math in this episode because we're talking about some fun things. We are here with Twitch star, stand-up comic, all around sweet person,
Oh,
Lisa Wallen. What's up, Lisa?
sweet but not funny. Anyways, how's it going? Hello?
I mean, I said stand-up comic. You're a headlining, touring stand-up comic. I think that means you're pretty funny.
yeah, I hope so.
You know, I think it goes without saying.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm just getting on. No, really, I'm just doing a service for all the Redditors out there. I'm getting them to leave the house.
Yes.
My show, they're like, a gaming comedian? Oh my
Gaming
God.
comedian. And we got you here today. And, you know, if you're a listener, if you're your first time, we let our guests select the prompt for the episode. And you gave us,
The best prompt.
yeah, I was
It
kind of
is a great prompt.
It
Something
was-
I'm surprised we haven't. Not only have we not done an episode, I don't think anyone's even we never touched this subject
Yes.
before.
You haven't had an edgy enough person on this
I
podcast.
think that's the problem until now.
Today we're doing Edgelord.
Edgelord Movies.
Edgelord
That's my whole
Movies.
identity.
Yeah. I'm sure you deal with a lot of edgelords.
I was about to say, what
a lot
about
of
being in the Twitch
incels.
community has you?
I also think being a millennial.
Edgelords.
I think being a millennial does too, because
Yeah.
most of them came out during our time.
Peak like 98 to like 2004. Is a
Oh
lot
yeah,
of
it was
a lot
very
of
rotten.com-esque.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very
Yeah.
much like the
Matrix.
internet was open. We
Yeah.
finally got to see all the shit that was hidden from us, and we were like, oh man, we got to push people's buttons now.
Yeah.
That was it. That
Every
was,
person I knew was watching beheading videos, and I was like, why?
yeah.
I don't
Every
know.
person you knew.
Duh,
And
everybody.
you're
You
like
gotta
thir-
hang out with the
13.
crowd.
Yeah, I have never watched a beheading video. I just want to state
Me
that
neither.
right
Actually,
now.
can we all go on the record on that?
Yeah.
I've never watched one.
Two-
You've never watched a beheading video?
No, but I've seen like 2 Girls, 1 Cup. I mean,
Okay.
come on.
Well, that's very different.
Yes, I have also never seen 2 Girls, 1 Cup. I'm like, why? Why would I watch this?
I mean, that's because we were just impressionable teenagers.
No,
Well,
no.
I
And
understand.
now look at me.
I understand seeing the first 5 seconds of 2 Girls, 1 Cup because usually when you would watch it, it was sprung on you accidentally. But
Yeah.
you're saying you sat down and watched the whole.
I mean, think of like early YouTube humor
Yeah.
and like internet humor, like that. Everything was just pushing people's buttons and like trying to be like as dark as possible and being
Yeah.
like basically what every MAGA comic does now.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
Every
sorry, you
Edgelord
offended?
comic that does now.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, you do Twitch, you do stand-up comedy, so Edgelord makes complete sense.
Yeah,
It
I love
makes sense.
Edgelord video games. I mean, might as well go Edgelord movies.
There are Edgelord video games?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, I didn't even
Yeah.
know that.
what
That
is an
makes a lot of
edgelord?
sense.
Like, what's an example of an edgelord?
I mean,
video
Edgelord video games aren't as like I think cringy as you would say like films because
Right.
you have to actually play the game. But like mine is like Devil May Cry. It's like
Oh,
over
okay.
the top or like it's like over the top, very campy humor. It's very like fuck you, dad.
Mhm.
Or it's like the games are super gory for like no reason, you know, or
Yeah.
just ones
Yes.
that's like we don't have to pull out the guts. Like we can
Yeah.
just skip this, you
Yes,
know. Yeah.
yes.
And or the ones that just try to push people's buttons. Like there was the whole Justin Roiland game that came out where he's like the gun, the High on Life game, and he's just saying all this like Rick and Morty shit, and it was just like, what are we doing, guys?
Well, I'm gonna
It's
tell
a
you right
shame
now,
Rick and Morty's not a movie.
I'm not playing any of these games. So
really?
You should play Devil May Cry though.
I should
It
play
is
Devil May Cry?
amazing.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It's
I have
Edgelord-
played Devil May Cry.
Yeah, it's Edgelord without being like in your face rude. It's like Edgelord as in like, these guys are so cool in their leather jackets and motorcycle arms. Like
No, I just my whole life I've just been breaking controllers playing Madden and NCAA
oh, so you're the
football.
Edgelord. Okay, all right, we got this.
Yeah, I'm the Edgelord where I just hate the fucking game. and I'm just like, you fucking piece of shit.
You just have an edge.
I'm playing JMU. They're not that good.
You're the Lord of Edge. There you go.
Only when it comes to video games. Other than that, I'm a pretty sweet guy, I would say. Horny for sure. Is horny edgelord? I don't know.
No.
Okay.
I think you're edgelord because you're horny, but you don't get laid.
You're thinking of edging.
Oh, that's
You're incel.
You're edging.
No, I'm nowhere near incel because choosing to be celibate, kill yourself. What?
Absolutely.
I think that might be the most edgelord opinion I have.
Edgelord just means incelibate. There you go.
Yes. Well, speaking of, I have the definition
Oh,
of
wow.
edgelord right here.
What's the site?
A dictionary or
Urban Dictionary?
or just. I was gonna go to Urban Dictionary,
Just
but it popped
Google.
up right up on
Oxford
Google.
language.
Wow, it's
The
a real-
Oxford language
so you're saying-
definition of edgelord.
It's
Yeah.
a real it's a real word
A person
now.
who affects provocative or extreme persona, especially online. Parentheses, typically used of a man.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. That seems. about right.
Edgelords act like contrarians in the hope that everyone will admire them as rebels.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But instead it just means you live in your mom's basement still
Yeah.
in your 30s.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
That's the attitude you
there are a
come
lot
up
of
with.
incels, red pill incels, alt-right edgelords.
There's an edgelord family tree if we want to go all the way
Edgelord
down.
family tree. Do you think edgelord is the one that starts and then it's like it kind of goes down?
I think
from
childhood trauma
Is
starts.
okay.
And then you break into like either this person became like a really nice person, just wants to be happy so no one else goes through pain, or someone who's just, I just want to inflict pain on others.
Growing up, did you ever like admire or like fall in love with an edgelord and then be like, what? And then realize it after
do you not see what I look like?
not?
I also was the edgelord that
you were
people
an
fell in
edgelord?
love with. Oh my God, absolutely. I only dated like the worst people
Okay.
until this day.
Until this day. Still. Until this day.
Yes, I was very much into the edgy dudes. I would like pay like fake jackass in junior high, and then in high school they were like doing whippets and shit, and I was like, oh, this is my life now. And then I wonder why I went to alternative school, of course. I went
What
to the
is
school.
alternative school?
Oh, yeah.
The Mr. Goody Two Shoes.
Oh,
over
you
here.
don't even
I
know
went
what
to
that
I went to New Jersey public school. I'm not.
Did they not
Oh,
have
well, then
alternative school
you
in
would
New
think
Jersey?
They had other schools. I'm just wondering if alternative, like there was like a
It's not
magnet
like-
school for
It
smart
was like
kids.
basically
There
if you're
was-
kicked out of public school, you go to this.
Yeah, you go
Oh.
alternative
Oh.
school.
Bad.
Yeah, if you're dumb.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
the sad thing is like people got kicked out because they were like rebels and like doing drugs. I'm like,
Yeah.
I was just stupid. Like, and I
So
just,
they put you with the rebels?
yeah, I skipped school a lot, and I
Okay.
was like, I would like drink at like noon and like
Well,
have
that's
like
not
a.
being just
Yeah, that's
dumb.
not being dumb.
Okay, but I wasn't
You're-
like doing
sound like
that.
you're a bad kid.
This is that edgelord mentality right there. I was just drinking and skipping school.
Yeah,
I was just
it's
drunk at
fine.
school.
I didn't even
you
have to.
know?
Who needs physics?
Wasn't
right?
everybody
At
drunk in
16?
school?
Yeah.
No.
You weren't drunk in school?
No,
Yeah.
I was not.
Anyway, so yes, I was
think I am the goody
surrounded by
two-shoes of this group,
edgelords.
actually.
Okay, well, we are doing edgelord movies today, and
Edgelord cinema, perhaps.
edgelord cinema.
Yeah.
By film versus film. Do you want to go first? Do you want to announce your movie? Or you know?
I want to talk about your movie first because
Okay.
I feel like yours is one
The
of
number one edgelord movie.
I feel like it is the
the epitome. It is the
Edgelord film. I'm sure
prototypical
you'll argue that
edgelord movie,
but yeah,
which may hurt my argument
okay.
or it may help. But my movie, if you haven't guessed already, is not American Psycho because we already used it.
Yeah, man. I
was wondering why you
I
didn't
texted
use that.
Okay, we'll
Leonard-
talk about that
I
after
texted
this.
Leonard. I was like, American Psycho, lock it in because we did that already. For
I chose that
some
already.
for some other
That's
film.
right. You know who I am. I chose Fight Club. Come on, man. David Fincher. Y'all know me. Y'all know I love the game. David Fincher. Y'all know I love my boy Finch, dog, Gone Girl, Quinn Choice.
Yes,
You know
Wait,
what I'm saying?
real quick, how have you guys not covered Fight Club so far?
that is
surprising.
I mean, the prompts direct the,
prompts,
picks.
yeah, the
That
prompts
is
but
kinda
it
true.
definitely
direct.
would have qualified for a couple.
Like it's not
movies
it's
before.
not a rom-com.
Sometimes with a movie that you know is good, and I'll say straight up now, this is going to affect my final argument. I prefer your movie as a movie. Like
Okay.
Fight Club is one of my, I
Yeah.
love the movie Fight Club, but
You're a man.
sometimes the
You're a straight cis man.
yeah, I don't think I had the poster on my college dorm wall, but it would not have surprised me. If
Was
that
it Snatch?
No,
That's also a very good.
I'm gonna have to go back and check my college if I have photos of my college dorm wall.
Okay,
there
okay.
was some embarrassing photos up there, posters
But
up there.
yes, I chose Fight Club, 1999 film.
Yep.
99.
Yep.
I don't even have to look this up. You know what I'm saying? It's based off of a book called, I can't remember.
Fight
Club.
Club
Oh, it's called Fight Club.
by Chuck
Oh, well,
Palahniuk.
yep, Chuck. Okay, there we go. Lisa.
I've read it. I'm an
Duh.
edgelord.
I've also
that's the
read
reason
it.
why you chose the prompt. And starring Brad Pitt, Edward Norton,
Helena Bonham Carter.
Helen
Helena Bonham Carter.
No, Bonham
another
Carter.
actor for you
The one-
later.
Yes, that's a good one.
The one woman in the film, Meatloaf, Jared Leto.
That's how you know it's a very straight film when there's only one woman in it, right?
Yeah.
one woman.
And she has lines like, I haven't been fucked like that since grade school,
Yeah,
whatever that.
crazy.
Iconic.
Yeah.
Iconic lines. A lot of iconic lines in this movie. And it's about Edward Norton's character, narrator. We don't know his name in the movie. He is a consumerist, loving IKEA, working at an insurance claim for
Car
recalls, and his life is monotonous. He hates it, and he meets this interesting individual on a flight, his single-serving friends, that he's very prevalent in enjoying it, and it's a big part of his life. And his house blows up. He moves in with them, and chaos ensues. Project Mayhem, buildings get blown up, things happen. Cults get created.
They also start a club. I don't know if you're not talking about it because the first rule is that you're not allowed to talk about
Fight
it.
Club. Well, I wasn't going to talk about it, but you can break the rule.
They start a fight club.
They start a fight
Were you
club.
in any fight clubs in school? Was that a thing in your guys' high school? In my high school,
So you don't know what alternative school is, but you had fight clubs.
it was a public school in New Jersey. Yeah,
So,
there's
of course there were
absolutely,
fight
like
clubs.
it
This
got-
is a natural.
I don't know if it ever
alternative
met,
school.
but like the principal made an announcement. It's like, I heard that a fight club is happening somewhere like off, after school.
Hey, this is Jersey. I know there's fight clubs
yeah.
happening. I'm going to tell you
Nobody
right now.
ever got
I
together
was just
and-
on tour. I drove through Jersey 2 different times. Terrible state.
Fuck off.
There is a
You
funny
drove through twice.
I did a show in Morris Plains, New Jersey, and then I did a show in Philly. So it's like
Okay.
I landed in Newark, was in Jersey.
Well,
and then I
if that's
eventually
your
came back to
impression of
Philly.
New Jersey, yeah.
Yeah. But it was funny because there were a bunch of billboards that said, "I got hurt in New Jersey.com." It was a real billboard. Sorry.
wonderful-
That's just
I got hurt in
that's
New
the Edgelord
Jersey.com.
state. There you go.
Sorry to shit on
I
New
never
Jersey.
participated in any fight clubs, but they formed fight clubs. You might call Edward Norton's character in the modern parlance a beta male.
Yes,
sort
he's
of
the
just,
beta.
like, existing,
He's the
and
beta for sure.
We're going to use a lot of like that kind of edgelord
Sigma,
terminology.
beta,
yeah,
alpha.
and I think that would definitely be his classified. He's just the kind of meek, mild-mannered guy just going through life. And Tyler Durden, played by.
Bro,
Should we have a like?
Did I even say
I know
Brad
he's.
Pitt?
No, I think he did. I
The
know
sexiest
he's-
man alive at the
there's,
time?
like, more problematic stuff with Brad Pitt in present day, but is
He's
there like
played
a
by
sexier
Brad
Pitt
Pitt's V.
performance?
Remember the V?
Is there a sexier Brad Pitt performance?
That's
I would
peak
say
Brad Pitt.
maybe the only sexier Brad Pitt performance because of the accent and just like when he gets up and he's ripped and he's boxing.
Do not
is
say Snatched.
Yeah.
You like Dags?
He's snatched and snatched. Is that
Bro,
what you're
he's
saying?
snatched and snatched. When he stands up, when he like that big dude in the farm,
Yeah.
he kills that dude and he stands up, you're like, God damn.
I think that's the following year. I think he
I
took
think
his
that
Fight
makes-
Club body and he brought it to
I
Snatch,
think
so.
that's why he's psychotic in real life. Is there you go.
Right.
Those
It's,
movies?
it's
Yeah.
those movies.
Was his tooth chipped at the beginning of the movie, or was it because I noticed that like later at the end
I
of the movie?
think
I think
if
it was from
I-
the Fight Club, then his tooth was chipped.
Yeah, and
I
I
don't
feel
think it was
like
chipped at the beginning of the movie.
22-year-old Quinn on the IMDb trivia boards might remember that fact that I think he has a chipped tooth and he just took the cap out because like it makes him seem
Yeah.
that might not be true, but I
Okay.
think that's
Before we get more into Fight Club, what is your film?
So my film, it's a bit more recent, although I was like, it was a kind of a head trip rewatching it as I did this weekend before recording for the first time since I saw it in theaters. It's 8 years old, this movie.
Yeah.
Isn't that wild? This movie's almost 10 years old.
It's crazy.
I'm talking about, I'm going to need to look up who directed this film, but it really doesn't matter because the whole thing is brought to you from the mind of Ryan Reynolds. This is the R-rated Marvel superhero spoof satire, Deadpool. Deadpool is
Cursing, titties,
yeah,
gore.
it's like back when an R-rated superhero movie, I guess, felt like novel and stuff. There was just like the height of the MCU. We were getting a lot of like earnest Captain America, Thor, Iron Man movies with like their quips and their humor, but they were all very safe, PG-13. Out comes Ryan Reynolds, who had played Deadpool before, almost a decade
Yes.
prior, in like an
in one of the worst X-Men movies.
yeah,
Yes.
and like
Maybe
a
the
terrible
worst.
X-Men
I didn't
movie.
even watch it.
The X-Men movies at this point are on like life support, kind of. They've had like a bunch of reboots and recastings. Ryan Reynolds comes along. He makes this Deadpool movie, and boy, was he America's sweetheart for about a year there.
Directed
Everybody
by
loved
Tim Miller.
Tim Miller. That's right. This is a story about a man who is an assassin, a mercenary. He presumably has a lot of. I think he mentions he has a kill count in the 40s, but all we see him do is like beat up some creepy stalker guy and let him off with a warning.
Yeah.
But he plays a mercenary who meets the love of his life, played by Miranda Baccarin. Then finds out soon after that he has terminal cancer all over his body, and so he signs up for a ambitious, off the grid, experimental treatment where they give you like a superhero serum in the efforts to repair the body, and also
They give
make
you the
a little bit
compound
more.
V.
Yeah,
The
they give you
compound
that boys compound V.
But it has to be triggered.
But it has to
can't
be
just-
triggered. Yeah, there was a little bit of like, I was like watching this being like, how's this work? They
Yeah.
just fuck with you until your body is like, hey, stop that, and you become a mutant, I guess.
Yeah.
But he winds up being horribly scarred and mistreated by this facility. He's also, let's just say, this is like Ryan Reynolds at 11. Every performance you've seen Ryan Reynolds in, he's kind of quippy.
This is the most Ryan Reynolds can be.
It's
Yes.
the most Ryan Reynolds, and
Literally.
I usually am not a fan of Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, really?
I think he
Same.
just makes a lot of bad
Really?
movies, and I think I've never enjoyed him more.
I think he's
Then
too
when
much
he
of
zips
himself
up his
in all his
face.
movies. There's not a
Yeah.
lot of range.
No.
with Ryan
Van
Reynolds.
Wilder?
That's the same-
guy.
You love Van Wilder.
I have a affection for Van Wilder from my childhood.
Van Wilder is your favorite
Hey,
movie.
you know
Not
what?
true.
There's nothing
Never said
wrong with
that.
not having range, though. Like, if you are very much, I mean, look at Patrick Warburton.
But
You're
he's
just
so
like
good
the
at
same
what, He's
person.
so good at what he does.
Yeah.
though.
Well, and I think this was like weirdly after being a guy like Van Wilder is 15 years before this movie comes out
Yeah.
or something in that range. But there is something about like being Ryan Reynolds for 15 years. It's not really working. He's famous enough for people to know his name, but he
Two
doesn't
guys,
feel like
two
a movie
girls,
star.
2 guys, a girl, and a
And a
pizza
cup.
place.
Oh my
Um,
God, that show.
But he finally hits it big with Deadpool, which
Yes.
is a superhero movie where he has 2 katanas. He can't be killed. He's got horribly maimed, burnt skin, and he wears a red suit. And he just breaks the fourth wall, acts like a little
The
edgelord the entire
movie.
time. The entire time, he's commenting on the meta commentary of the movie. He's commenting on he says something about Ryan Reynolds, the actor, at one point in the movie. He's just being a little stinker, and he is
Yes.
the heart and soul propelling the movie forward, but he is also like pulling out the machinery and the wires at every which way, which I think makes it a pretty standard like superhero origin movie, but with the twist of it's rated R, it's gory, it's nasty, it's
Okay.
sexy. Yeah,
Lisa, how did you
it's an
feel
edgelord movie.
when we gave you our choices?
Yeah,
I mean, I was surprised by the American Psycho, the lack of that. I mean, but I mean, like,
Yeah, that might-
I
that
kind
might
of just
be the
realized there's
ultimate.
such a range of like edgelord because there's like the Clockwork Orange edgelords.
right.
There's the old boy edgelord.
Wait, hold on. Clockwork Orange, what's that?
Clockwork Orange?
Yeah, I'm sorry,
You
Lisa.
have a
Did
film
that-
podcast?
wait.
You don't know what the Clockwork Orange is?
We don't acknowledge films pre 1980
1984.
by choice. 1984. We're a little bit gray area on where exactly.
Yeah,
in
so
the
we
80s,
don't
but
really know. Did films existed before 1984?
Yes. What is a Clockwork
Are you
Orange?
being
Is
you
it a
are being
diet?
sarcastic, right?
You eat one orange an hour?
Yeah,
What is
there
it?
you go. Yeah, just
Uh,
one orange an hour. I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like edgelord can mean anything from like, okay, is this movie gonna like shock you? Is this movie just gonna be by a guy who found it on Reddit and saw all the memes and was like, I'm obsessed with it? Like, I remember during my edgelord phase of my life, and I asked people for movie recommendations. Like, this is already post Fight Club, American Psycho, and just me trying to open up. Everyone's like, you got to watch Old Boy. That was a big
Another
one for
film we've
me.
talked about.
Yeah, you have talked about it.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love Old
best,
Boy.
Best revenge
Edgelord.
movie,
yeah,
believe it
I
was,
chose Old Boy.
But it
for-
is
for
such an
best revenge
edgelord
movie.
film because like it's like when you sit with somebody and they're trying to make you watch a YouTube video and they want to know when you're gonna laugh and they just stare at you. It's like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Once they learn the twist in the film, they're like, oh, didn't that shock you? And you're just like, God, this fucking. So I feel like I was expecting everything.
I was that boy. And it was Snatch. Snatch was one of those movies. And
Yeah.
Old Boy and like Battle Royale.
A lot of Jason Statham. I just realized too.
ooh, yeah.
Like
Oh,
Jason.
I just watched The Beekeeper. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like I
Good?
honestly was not knowing what to expect. I was 100% expecting Fight Club because I had just told you like a week ago that I had a bit about Fight Club that I was working on, and then I watched it, and then I was like edgelord films. It was all in my mind.
This is a
So,
bit.
but
Now-
Deadpool kind of surprised me.
Yes, Deadpool
Yeah.
surprised me a lot. And honestly, I thought Quinn was going to instantly text me Fight Club. Like, I thought you were going to instantly text me Fight Club. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to pull a Quinn before Quinn pulls a Quinn. And I'm going to say Fight Club.
Good for you.
I gave you a little bit of time.
It is funny
I
because-
gave you a little bit of time. But
yeah, we make fun of like Edgelord stuff, but when I was looking at like the list of Edgelord films, like these are all great movies.
They're good-
Like
they're good
they're all
movies.
great movies. But I think it's because the people who have that type of attitude get really fixated on like one personality type, and they're
Yeah.
like, this movie has everything, and it like is in your face, and that's who I want to be, and so I want to
Yeah.
be this great movie, and you're like, you're not.
I can't believe I never even thought about picking Snatch, which is kind of funny.
I never thought about Deadpool. Like Deadpool to me was like I watched Deadpool when it came out, and I was already kind of over like the breaking the fourth wall humor.
Yeah.
The minute it starts, it's like starring a
Instantly.
hot guy, and I'm like,
Yeah.
fucking fuck
okay.
off. Like
I have that in my notes. That intro to Deadpool with there's like the cameras roving through this slow-mo mayhem
British
on the
villain.
highway. Yeah. That is the most like, because I think you said it a little bit earlier, but to me, and we may all have like slightly different definitions of edgelord. I think obviously yours is the most important one, but you mentioned something about cringe. And I feel like watching that intro where it's like God's perfect idiot and a hot chick or whatever they put for
is so Rick and Morty.
it's
like it's
so
just very like
it's so like
we get
little
it.
like
so
it's not
meta.
actually funny, but it's like I'm being
Look at me, I'm so clever.
I think at the time-
it's very self like congratulatory,
I
very
will say
self-flattering.
this because at the time when I saw the movie, I was like, this is a little refreshing during the Marvel like explosion of every single Marvel license getting a fucking movie.
Yeah.
But like this one was like, okay, it's kind of goofy, but I also wasn't a Ryan Reynolds fan, so I was very kind of like cynical towards it. And then I rewatched it again. I was like, man, this was made in 2016, but this feels very early 2000s. Like
I'm not gonna lie to you. When I was watching this movie, I was like, this does not feel like an edgelord movie to me at all. But
Okay.
now that we're having this discussion,
Yeah.
I see
I mean,
that viewpoint.
So here's my thing, and we're talking about both movies. We should talk about Fight Club because there's so many iconic moments and scenes in Fight Club. But I think like there are movies that edgelords have grabbed onto that become part of the that kind of thing. And then there are movies that I think may qualify on that respect, but also sort of seem to like star edgelords.
I think the problem
Deadpool is like he is an
if you were
edgelord
to put a
superhero if one
Redditor in a
exists.
superhero movie, it would be Deadpool.
Yes, Deadpool
No,
is
the fucking
Oh,
would
I
not.
think it
They
would.
think they would be Deadpool.
That's what I
well,
mean.
They
sure.
think
That-
they would be
but
Deadpool,
that's the
but they
thing
would
is
not.
like I feel like the surrounding parts of it not so much.
Right.
Like, you know, like, oh my god, he actually has a girlfriend that he cares about. He's not just like an asshole, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like I think him as a character is what these like edgelord dudes are like, this is who I want to be. I want to be
Okay.
a guy who's just like
I
carefree
think they want to
and
be Tyler Durden.
Well,
That's what I think.
I think that is the yeah.
Mm, yes,
I
but-
think they think they're Tyler. Nowadays with these fucking podcasts and shit, but not ours. These like edgelord podcasts, these red pill podcasts. I think dudes want to be Tyler Durden.
yeah, I
Dudes want
think
to be Tyler Durden, but they are Edward Norton.
they are.
They're Bob, actually. A lot of them are Bob.
Bob,
Bob
yeah.
with the bitch tits. Poor
His name
Bob.
was Robert Paulson, okay?
Robert Paulson. His name was Robert Paulson. His name was Robert Paulson.
His name was
His
Robert
name
Paulson.
was
I
Robert
know where
Paulson.
you're going with this.
Yeah, so those okay. Yeah, very surprised by Deadpool. I'm also surprised I never thought of Snatch. That could have been because I was like
I don't
worried.
think. See, is Snatch
and I didn't
an
wanna pick the
edgelord
Joker.
movie? I feel like we're widening the.
That's
The
what-
Joker would have been one. I have not.
but
seen
I don't think I would have.
haven't
I don't think
seen
I could have
Joker.
allowed myself.
Have you
to
seen
pick-
Joker?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Look
Yeah.
at me. I'm an edgelord. Of course I've seen Joker.
Is that as edgelord as it feels?
I feel like
People
that,
were worried that Joker was going to cause rioting in the streets.
Yeah.
Do you remember when that movie was coming out?
They
I
thought
don't-
they
People
were
on
gonna,
the news
start
were like,
shooting.
I
they're
feel
all gonna
like-
they're
I
all gonna
feel
rise
like-
up out of the basements and take
I
to
feel
the
like
street.
Fight Club and Joker are in the same thing where the edgelords love it, but they don't understand it. Like
Right.
I did. Do you
yes.
know what the Fight Club bit that I have is? Did I tell you about it?
No, you didn't.
I'm not gonna say the bit, but basically,
Yeah, you don't have to burn
the
it here,
guy, Chuck Palahniuk, who wrote the book, years later told basically in an interview that during the time that he was writing Fight Club, he was struggling coming out of the closet, and so Fight Club was kind of like a metaphor for his struggle with his homosexuality. And the whole bit is like men being like, oh, this movie's so straight and like fucking manly. And it's like, what's the first rule of Fight Club? You can't talk about it. Oh, because it's a secret. Like
Yes.
there's like virtually no women in the film. It's all about like male bonding. There's so many different themes to Fight Club. And I think people just look at it like, ah, cool dudes beating the shit out of each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
living. Yeah.
We talked about it because it was another movie I was talking. I think it was maybe The Matrix or something else. And you're like, oh, also this movie. And I was like, oh shit, I did not know that.
Like Matrix
all.
being written by a trans woman.
Yeah,
Like it's like, or there's two of them, right?
Two trans women, yeah.
Two trans women. So it's like,
Wachowskis.
it's one of those things where it's like these people on surface level are like, this movie's so cool because there's like fight scenes and action, blah, blah, but they don't actually thematically understand it. Same thing with the Joker, where it's like, this guy got booed at a stand-up show. Now he's gonna murder everyone.
You don't understand that?
Yeah, you don't understand.
And what's so funny about
Leonard, you don't understand.
me? No. I've never been booed. I've had tomatoes thrown at me. And what's funny is like all these guys have this certain allure towards Fight Club and they gravitate towards it, but it's like he fucking kills Tyler at the end. He fucking blows his brains out. He's like, this is not the guy I want to be.
Well, the interesting, sorry to interrupt.
No,
but the
please.
interesting thing, please
We
interrupt.
we don't know these movies.
The interesting thing too is like I don't know how up to date you are with the younger audiences, like Gen Z and
Not
Gen
very.
Alpha or whatever.
Not
But
very.
because of Twitch streaming, I'm very exposed to all this
Oh,
shit
yeah.
online. Fight Club, American Psycho, all these things are making a huge comeback as far as like how I guess
think
younger, how
The
people are
ideology,
obsessed
because
with
of these Red Pill podcasts.
yeah, but it's so funny because it's like when I watched this movie like way back in the day, like none of it was just like, oh yeah, like I just want to fucking beat the shit out of people, blah blah. It was like, this is a really great David Fincher film, and
Yeah.
I was obsessed with it. And then all these dudes were like, oh, let's start our own Fight Club. I'm like, you guys are all idiots. I thought we learned from that, but now you have the new generations doing the same shit, and I'm like, you guys haven't learned your lesson yet.
Yeah.
You know, you guys, I'm just, you know what? I'll allow it. Okay. If girls that are 14 years old on TikTok know how to do their makeup, didn't have to go through the blue eyeliner phase of their life, I'll let these boys fuck up their lives by identifying as Fight Club.
Oh,
Okay.
God.
You guys have to embarrass yourself somehow. Okay.
Yeah. I just hate it because I have a 14-year-old nephew and I just worry about it all the time. I'm like, please don't.
Please.
fuck with
Has he
it,
seen Fight Club?
No.
Okay.
I'm sure he hasn't.
Yeah.
Even though I asked him what his last year, I was like, what was your favorite movie last year? And he said, I was so disappointed.
So-
What's that
so
movie
Deadpool,
where
I
the
bet.
child abduction movie of freedom?
Oh, the one with Jim Caviezel?
Yes, he said
What?
that was his favorite.
Has he been
movie.
red pilled?
I was like, what the hell?
You mean
Are
the one that got canceled because it was like,
Yes.
so it was basically
Somebody was
false.
watching it next to
Sound
me.
of Freedom.
The Sound of Freedom. He's like, yeah, Sound
The
of Freedom.
name of the
I was
movie
like, didn't
itself.
Spider-Man 2 the Spider-Man 2 came out.
The,
You like Spider-Man 2?
the name of the movie itself sounds like a horrible Christian album
Sound of
title.
Freedom?
Like it's just like, ugh.
Not Miles Morales, Black Spider-Man.
Wait,
I hope he
doesn't
smacked him in the
You
back
love
of the
to
head.
draw. What the fuck? Anyways.
But listen, during that
because
time,
Bob Marley has songs of freedom. I hear Sound of Freedom, and I think Jim Caviezel.
when I
with
hear
the
Sound
Bob
of
Marley
Freedom, I
dreads.
feel like I just see like a really bad country rock album with American flag in the background.
Yeah.
That's all I can
Yeah,
hear.
That's a Kid Rock.
It's a kid. That's a
single.
Kid Rock song.
For
Right
real.
there you go.
And
Well-
he loves Fight Club.
Are you suggesting, Lisa? Not us. We would never suggest. Are you suggesting that Gen Z and Gen Alpha perhaps lack the nuance to parse through difficult texts like Fight Club and take the real meaning of these things, and instead they just have the surface level pleasures?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a pretty
There
bold
you go.
accusation
There
you're
you
throwing
go.
at an
No,
entire
no.
generation. I would never do that, but that's bold of me to do
Listen,
it.
if you want to hear what my other Edgelord films were when I was a kid, let's know
please.
I
Yeah.
was a diehard Christian Bale fan.
Okay.
And
Hell
one of,
yeah!
and one of
Damn,
my
American Psycho would have been good.
well,
for
not even just that though, but one of my favorite dumb
Newsies.
Edgelord films, I bet you couldn't even guess it. It was a Christian Bale film that came out around the same time as The Matrix. And-
Oh, I know exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Equilibrium.
There you go.
Yeah.
That was my
This movie,
favorite.
that movie would have won.
That movie is like
oh, Equilibrium.
Have
I've
you
never
not
heard of
seen
it.
that?
It's a
No.
Matrix knock off with a little bit of a like dystopic future. I mean, like
Oh,
the
this sounds
Matrix,
right
but
up my alley.
you
Yeah,
should
who's
watch
the other guy?
it because
Christian
the what I mean by like this is like the
There's a black
this
actor in it
this
too, so
is
you'd
what I
like
should
that.
say. This is the Devil May Cry Edgelord where it's like campy and cringe. It's not over the top, but it
Yeah.
is fucking like so ridiculous. But like basically, yeah.
Can I
it's-
read the plot synopsis on
Yes,
IMDb?
absolutely.
In an oppressive future where all forms of feeling are illegal, a man in
I think I have
a
seen
man in
this.
charge of enforcing the law
I have
rises to
seen
overthrow
this.
the system and state. Christian Bale, Tay Diggs, equilibrium.
I have seen this
Diversity
movie.
higher stakes.
I have not seen this movie, I saw that movie like 20
I
years
mean, the
ago.
name of the combat is Gun Kata, where
Gun
they
Kata.
have guns and they're doing martial arts.
2002. It is heavy Matrix inspired.
It
He
is
looks
the
like
most
Neo.
heavy early 2000s. Like, it's the Devil May Cry movies.
Okay.
Like,
I'm gonna watch this.
like my other Edgelord movies. This is like the positive Edgelord movies.
No, that was a great one.
This one is Fast and the Furious, because I feel like Fast and the Furious has gone from like being a car chase film.
That's an interesting one. I don't know that I agree with that, but I want your take on this.
I have a whole spiel about how that is a Devil May Cry of movies, because Devil May Cry came out as like, this is a Resident Evil type game and we were just gonna make it our own thing. But then people realized how cringy and over the top the dialogue and story was, and they're like, please just play onto that and try to pretend that, instead of trying to pretend that you're serious. And that's what Fast and Furious did, is they started off as like these car chase movies, and they're like, we're gonna go a little more. And was like, this is fucking stupid. Like, fine, we're fucking stupid, and we're just gonna keep getting more stupid every single
You're
movie.
gonna drive cars across cliffs and
outer space and like
yeah.
like and Fast and Furious just loves playing onto that over the topness. Like they know at this point no one's taking them seriously,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
that's the type of like good edgelord that I'm like, you guys just want to be insane.
I think that's the stand-up comic part of you, because when I think of edgelord, I think of people who just say the wildest shit they can possibly say for a reaction.
But then again, that terminology has changed because of all the red-pilled people.
Exactly.
Because when the internet first came out, we were just trying to be like, what do boobs look like? Like, we just wanted to see. Yeah, right. We just wanted to see.
Sorry, I was saying, what does ass look
like?
like?
We just wanted to see where our limits were on the internet, and like we were exposed to like beheading videos, blah blah blah. Like, millennials were exposed to the worst shit online, and it really shaped who we were. Like, I have a whole bit. It's like Gen Z doesn't have to worry about deleting old tweets. Like that.
Yeah.
If you notice anyone has to delete old tweets, it's like millennials, because it's like we got away with heinous shit, and then we grew up. And the people who didn't grow up became the red pill people. But the people who did grow up, like, they've learned their lessons. And like, but now we have this younger generation who's going through the same shit.
Yeah,
you don't think they're gonna have anything they want to delete? I feel like they're gonna.
They're gonna have a
lot.
lot.
Oh, they do.
I think
they're
just like, we live in a constant state.
Yeah.
Of whatever is out there is.
I
think they're aware that they live.
Bro,
online,
they delete shit now. They delete
Yeah.
their
They
whole.
have-
They
They
delete
delete
everything.
their entire identities now, you know?
If you're young, there aren't supposed to be any posts on your Instagram page. It's supposed to just be nothing.
Do you remember?
Because now 13-year-olds can like have they can interact with 21-year-olds.
Yeah,
on
my
the
nephew has an
internet.
Instagram. There's he sometimes he'll put one
But
picture
I
up.
will say,
like he'll like on archive a photo.
But I will,
like,
but I
month.
will say things like, you know, the stupid shit we're looking on E-Bombs World and stuff. People are now aware of like, oh yeah, this shit's bad. Like, if you go back and watch old YouTube videos and you're like, this whole joke's about rape, like, but people are laughing. We now have to teach kids like, yes, like these things are not good, but like we didn't back in the day.
Yeah. This is a lot of pop culture we're talking about, so I feel like it might be a good time to segue into the
pop culture sphere of our
not to segue. I'm so sorry if we weren't done yet.
No. This is perfect.
We're just beginning.
We have 5 criteria that we will see these movies through a prism, through a certain scope, and maybe judge them. They don't have to change your viewpoint, but you know, we can talk about the pop culture effect of. Is pop culture the first one?
Yes, it is. The pop culture influence of both Deadpool and Fight Club. I mean, I think Fight Club has a bit more runway. An incredibly influential film.
Yes, it's like Deadpool is Marvel, and it's hard to argue against like which one is better.
Let's just talk about Fight Club for a minute, because I think the very like, we don't talk about X, you know, like that very nature of Fight Club being the first rule is we don't talk. People do that for anything. People do that, like bachelorettes get their customized t-shirts made to say like the first rule of Jenna's bachelorette party is we don't talk about.
Yeah,
like I feel like Las Vegas even adopted that as a slogan. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. That's maybe a little bit different, but my point is the Fight Club, like
Fight Club is just a metaphor for Vegas.
It is. I mean, if there was one city that had to be Fight Club in America, but yeah, I feel like the pop culture influence of Fight Club is vast.
The poster, iconic poster,
that Pixies song, the "You Met Me at a Very Strange Time in My Life." There's a ton of stuff that we're still seeing from Fight Club. I think Fight Club also is the modern day, like it's not the first to do it, but the, you know, he wasn't there the whole time kind of the, you know, I feel like that trope,
the big reveal,
that big twist that it's like,
and it's interesting rewatching it when you know it
Yeah.
And it's like, there was only one part where I was like, well, what about this fucking scene? Where they're driving in the car, when they wreck the car, and there are two people in the back, and he's having the conversation with himself in the front seat.
Oh, where
when
you
he's
try
like,
to...
when he's finally like, why didn't you tell me about Project Mayhem?
Yeah.
And they're like, we don't talk about Project Mayhem. Those two people are just watching him have a conversation with himself in the front seat.
I think that's why they admire him so much. It's
Yeah.
like, this guy's two different people in one body. Because the first time they show him in the movie, like the Fight Club people, he's beating the shit out of himself in the parking lot. So they're like, what the fuck is this guy doing?
Yeah.
And then they see two sides of this two sides of this coin of this guy, and they're like, this guy's insane, but he's got good ideas, and we look up to him.
Yeah, he's got great ideas.
So I would say it has a
Beat the
huge
shit out
pop
of each
culture influence, good or bad, especially with, the boards and the chats.
I mean, probably
and
still the film most closely associated with David Fincher, who is obviously one of
Who's done
our
favorite.
most
Social Network.
Editing.
He did Social Network too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Social Network,
so
Gone
good.
Girl, The Game. Have you ever seen The Game?
I don't think so.
You have to watch
Very
it.
Okay,
few
I
have.
probably will.
one of my favorite.
Seven,
It's
of
like
course. Seven is
Seven.
kind
Oh,
of
Yeah.
Bro, I was a weird kid. As a kid, as like a 13-year-old boy, I loved Seven.
yeah.
That
I
was a
loved-
good. That was also kind of like in the realm of like what other movies are gonna like make me feel something, and that was Seven. Was
Can
one
I
of
throw
them.
an Edgelord movie out that we haven't talked about just because I almost picked it
Okay.
and I
What?
didn't, and if that's a mistake, we can talk about that after, I guess. But have you seen, or I'm sure you're familiar with, have you guys seen Boondock Saints?
Of course.
Oh, yes.
Boondock Saints was like I was the class of 2009, so like that movie came out when I was slightly too young. Certainly didn't see it in theaters.
I have
But the cult status DVD following, it's like I had so many friends who were like, "Have you seen Boondock Saints,
I
bro?"
actually have a
And they
term
thought it
for
was the
that
coolest movie in the world.
It's a Hot Topic cult classic.
Ah,
Yeah,
that
like-
sounds like
Yeah.
You're negging it a little bit. Is
No,
that-
I mean, it's like Green Street Hooligans. It's like all these movies where you saw it on like a cool T-shirt in your pin. You're like, "Where's that from?" And then you
Yeah.
look it up, and you're like,
Kids.
"Yeah." The Warriors is another one. Like,
Warrior.
I'm
Yeah,
a big movie.
not familiar with Warriors pre 1980.
But yeah,
but I understand that you're talking about a film.
But yeah, but it's just all these movies that you're like, it's iconic in some way because there are like very well
Until
known.
you sit down to watch it, Boondock Saints not good. I
I
don't
Yeah.
like it.
I just thought about Reservoir Dogs, even though I think we've already chosen that. I feel like this is a good Edgelord movie.
Yeah.
I love that we're still picking
I feel like,
movies.
yeah.
Anyways.
I mean,
No,
because
I
there's
started
so
this,
many
but
of
I'm just
them.
saying there are so many.
Yeah.
Let's
That's
talk about
why
the-
it was a vast topic.
Let's talk about the pop culture influence of Deadpool.
Okay, well, there's
mean-
one out right now. I think it's the number
and
one
it's
movie
like
in America.
It's like doing
as of
crazy.
this
numbers.
Is that why
recording.
you really chose it for trending purposes?
I do. I'm sure that yes, exactly. Just it's all about the SEO. No, I think it was like, I don't know. He is. I think he being the character Deadpool is like it says a lot about like the kind of superhero cinema. The fact that Deadpool is like a huge franchise that
Yeah.
makes like hundreds of millions of
I
dollars.
think
I
it
think it
gets-
was the most popular R-rated comedy of like it took that from The Hangover when it came out. I'm talking about the first one.
I
but-
will say a
yeah.
pop culture reference with I think that it does better than Fight Club is that
Please.
so many different movies like comedy movies and stuff like this come out. Everyone's like, I always hear it's like Deadpool but with blah blah blah.
Mhm.
I never hear that about Fight Club. I hear like because like there's like anime that I watch or like comedy and you'd be like, yeah, dude, he's like Deadpool, blah 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 blah. All the time I hear that for everything. Like it's like Deadpool's always like a go-to, like what's like kind of like the anti-hero that's a big old goof. And so anytime I hear the term anti-hero, it's like Deadpool's the number one anti-hero. And it's like, okay.
Not edgelord, but anti-hero.
Well,
yeah,
but-
which
and
is
it's like, it
which
should
is an edgelord
be-
role of any film because technically Tyler Durden could be an anti-hero in a sense because it's
Yeah.
like he is the main character, but he's not exactly the greatest
Yeah.
dude.
Tyler
and-
Durden. Do
yeah.
we agree
What's
He's
that?
with his plot? Do we agree?
Do
He's
I?
trying to blow up all the banks, take us back
Listen.
to zero.
And that is very anti-hero, as in like we get that the cause of it is, but it's not a good thing. And
Yeah,
what
I
you're
think he's
doing
a
is
woke warrior. I think
Yeah.
he's trying to
Yeah,
reset
no,
the status quo.
I
don't think he's an
you-
edgelord. I think he's trying to do
Quinn
good.
knows me, and he probably asks because it's a loaded question because I for sure believe in his ideology 100%. I think he's right. I hate capitalism. Consumerism is fucking stupid. But here's the problem: I'm a stand-up comic, and there's nothing else I can do. So I kind of need this.
Here's the problem.
To be
If
functioning.
any brand sends me something, I will 100% make a reel for it for
Yeah.
money. Like,
yes, I need money. I had to.
I
function
forgot
in
you were
society.
anti-capitalist when I was looking at you in that Super Bowl commercial.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you
but-
get paid in potatoes for that?
No, then that's the thing. I don't want to be rich, but I want to be able to survive, and you need money in this society.
yeah, unfortunately.
And the only thing I like to do is make people laugh. So I
That's
can't
true.
make money any other
I
way.
mean, I think that's also why there was such a huge influence with Fight Club, is that like Brad Pitt, or I guess fucking Tyler Durden itself, was like, this is who everyone wishes that they could be. And then obviously they see what the bad part of that is. And then that's the thing that no one focuses on, is
Right.
that they're like, Tyler Durden is this amazing character and like plays thematically on themes of like capitalism and masculinity and all stuff. But no one thinks about the negative parts so
I
much.
think the problem is that movie is too fun. Like I was watching it and I was like, this movie should be like
It's-
dark
They
and
don't
depressing.
show the negative side enough.
I mean, they do.
Yeah.
Like I also many times in
In
that
the
movie, like
book,
when he's getting his hand
in the
burned,
book, they
I'm like,
do.
I don't want to be
In the book, there's a lot of
Yeah.
more like disfiguration involved with like how the men get the shit beaten out. There's a big
Yes.
change in the story. Is a lot more.
I've read the book.
edginess,
I also
yeah.
read that. And I
Yeah.
think I read Choke. And then I think I was like, I don't know if
I read,
like Chuck Palahniuk as a writer, but-
I read Snuff. I read Invisible Monsters, which is really good. And I was like, this is my personality. I need to get rid of it. Like I
yeah,
read like
I
10
identified
of-
something
yeah.
in it when I read it. and
I was very much like Chuck Palahniuk, Kurt Vonnegut. I was like very like, what are all the Edgelord authors?
Yeah.
Like that was
You were
my
in search of.
haunted. Oh my god, I don't even want to get started
well,
on him.
let's talk about
Well,
which is this is.
Sorry, we try one other thing.
Okay.
Fight Club, I think it predicted a kind of like American male, or I guess it was commenting on the time that has become very prevalent in like our 21st century society. I feel like we are ruled by Tyler Durden type personalities.
There is a
online.
lot
Literally.
of
It was
movies.
very
And
ahead of
you
its
look
time.
back at it and you're like, some people were critical of Fight Club at the time because it's like, oh, this is like trash, or it's like no, this is predicting a kind of person that is like in a lot of ways running shit.
Well,
And
Quinn,
people
your
are much
comment
more
is
open about
perfect
it.
for the prompt for
That's true.
number 2 is
I
how
should've
well
saved
does it
it.
hold up?
That's true.
Which is how well does it hold
Incredibly
up?
well, I guess.
We are living Tyler Durden's Durden's world right
We've
now.
had a Tyler Durden. Oh fuck! I fucked it up.
Without
We had a
thinking-
Tyler Durden president, Trump.
we had a Tyler Durden president 100.
This is a
I
political
would-
podcast
I
now.
disagree entirely.
No, I'm
about
talking
Trump
about
is
just.
a
I'm talking about
edgelord.
just on
Trump
yeah,
is
looks.
an
but
edgelord.
he is not Tyler Durden.
I just mean
Oh,
on the
yeah.
looks because
I would
Oh,
never
yeah.
fuck Donald Trump's V. Okay.
100%.
Well, no. I mean, it holds up because it's a great fucking movie, and I feel like there's this weird personality type people have now where they're afraid to admit that popular things are good. I've always hated
True.
that. If it's too mainstream, if it's too beloved, people are like, it's actually kind of overrated. Fight Club, not overrated. 100%. Such a great
Properly
fucking film
rated.
from beginning to the end. One of the greatest films of all time. People are like, you're just saying that. I'm like, you're just trying to be cool by saying that it's not, because it literally is. And there's no, everyone I know who's seen it is like, it's a great film.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone who hates
I
Fight
for
Club.
sure can be a contrarian, but if something is good, it's good. Maybe I won't ever consume it or watch it, and then I can say
But
it's
also,
bad.
it's
but
a thing
then
where it's
if I
like,
watch it and it's good, I'm gonna say it's
after
good.
reading the book and you finish the book, they're like, this could have been a terrible movie. Like that's the first thing. Like David Fincher blew out of the water, and same thing with the casting. There's no other way that movie could have been better. Like that movie is as good as it could get.
Yeah,
I would say.
Yeah.
All right. Well, third
so
question.
it holds up pretty well. I mean, Deadpool.
Oh, wait.
Deadpool
Oh,
still
yeah.
exists today. I feel like he holds up about
Yeah,
as
those are
well.
pretty well, but-
yeah,
Lisa said earlier, it feels very early 2000s. when you
It is
watch
very, I mean, it's still a good
Maybe that's
film.
purposeful.
It's still a good film because I do appreciate Deadpool as a character, but I do feel like as far as like the meta humor and like the carelessness, it's kind of hard to be very, because it's like you want to feel some kind of sympathy towards a character. It's hard for me to feel some sort of sympathy towards Ryan Reynolds, except for the whole girlfriend part. That is the only thing about me.
and when
where-
a movie plays it that like we don't give a shit about like even the narrative that we're
Yeah.
telling and stuff, it is hard to like those moments where he's actually getting tortured and you're supposed to care. It's like I don't.
and they don't really play on the torture part that much
No.
either. It's like it's very much. I think
It's
they
like
were trying
2
to.
minutes.
They're trying to do something different than all the other oversaturated Marvel films that were coming
Yeah.
out, and I respect that.
I forgot
TJ
to-
Miller is in this movie.
Yes, that doesn't hold up.
That
doesn't
also
hold up
does
so
not
much.
hold up.
I
He's
forgot
not in
to
the
add-
sequels.
I forgot to add something for the holding up part.
Okay.
There's one black person in Deadpool, and he gets his ass beat. He's still breathing.
I just watched this movie today.
where he
And I'm
he's
struggling
like,
to remember
where he
who that
orders the
is.
blowjob shot, and then they fight each
Oh,
other.
yeah.
And he beats him up. He's like, oh, he's still breathing. Only black guy in the movie. No black people in Fight
I
Club.
think that was intentional though.
Hold on.
Oh.
No black people in Fight Club. And that's why it holds up so well. Because black people ain't joining that goddamn club.
Well,
Y'all ain't getting black people to do that goddamn bullshit. We ain't blowing up buildings and shit like that. Get the fuck out of here. You're right.
When I mean there's like different themes to Fight Club, I think them purposely all being white is one of the huge themes where
100%.
it's like you guys are, I hate capitalism, blah, blah, but you're still so privileged. Like you are a white working straight male in society. Like you guys don't know.
Why are you talking about us? Why'd you pick straight?
No, straight in the movie
I
because
gotcha.
technically he's not straight, but it's like that them not being anything but white is completely on purpose.
Now, I think there is one black person that maybe lives in the house, and there are black people who are part of the club, but they're like, you see them in the restaurant, and there's the Hispanic people you see in the restaurant, but I just, there really aren't any main black characters or none that live in the house, and it's like, yeah.
I've always also thought it was interesting when it's like, he goes to the psychiatrist and he talks about how he's like suffering. They're like, go to these like support groups and you'll see real suffering. And it's like, all these people in support groups, yes, I feel for their pain, like going through cancer, all this stuff. It's like there's homeless people, there's people who are immigrants, blah blah. I think they purposely play on like the white man's struggles versus anything else. Like anyone can look at this movie from a different angle versus Deadpool, where you're just kind of looking at it from one angle. Yeah.
All right, quick question: was Jennifer Coolidge in either one of these movies?
Are you referring to Stifler's mom, Jennifer Coolidge?
Best in show?
New
She
season
should have
6?
been.
Is this actor or actress in this movie?
Yes, I'm referring to
Selection?
Jennifer Coolidge.
You know, it's crazy that well, it's not crazy, but Jennifer Coolidge, I feel like she's obviously had a renaissance.
Yes.
But it like the peak of Jennifer Coolidge previous to this was like turn of the century, 90s. I think American Pie
Could you
came out in
see-
1999.
You know, you're fucking old when you say Stifler's mom. Everyone's like, who? And I'm like, no.
Now,
Stifler's grandma.
if
by
she
now,
was in the movie, we
probably.
normally ask what character would she play in the movie, and there's
Right.
only one character she could play. Or she could also be the cancer
Don't
patient.
take Miranda Baccarin from me from
she
this
could've-
movie. I'm not.
Jennifer Coolidge could have been funny as the cancer patient who wanted to have sex before she died.
That is Chloe. I identify with her every day, man. She is just
yeah.
every day. I'm like, bitch just want to get to lay, dude.
Yeah.
Like, really, that's it.
100%. I think that's who I think Jennifer Coolidge is going to be in. I think she's going to be Chloe.
I think she could have been a great Marla. Couldn't you have seen her say, "I haven't been fucked like that since grade"?
Yes.
I actually could hear her say that.
She actually, no, she would have been great as Marla. Now that I think
Yeah,
about
I
it.
feel like you
It would
just
have been
give her
a
the.
different energy.
I always thought it was
Yes.
funny that Helena Bonham Carter just looks like a Tim Burton character all the time, and that's his ex-wife. Like,
Yep.
Yeah.
it's like he just invented her.
He dreamt her.
He dreamt her, and she came to life.
She came to life.
He fumbled the
Was
goth
Jennifer Coolidge
girl.
in Deadpool?
She was not in Deadpool, at least not that I could see. I'm gonna pivot from giving her. Oh wait, there is another black person in Deadpool.
Who?
It's his roommate,
Oh, the blind
Yeah,
lady.
the blind woman.
Damn, I feel.
and I'm going
I
to
saw
take her part away and
okay.
give it to Jennifer Coolidge.
I saw her more as blind than black.
Okay, interesting. Blind privilege. I don't know.
Yes.
You don't consider blind people black if they are.
Nope.
Okay,
They
fascinating.
can't see color, and so
Actually, there is one black person in Fight Club.
who?
The girl at the counter he sells a soap to.
Oh yeah, her.
Oh,
yeah.
She's loving that soap.
Yeah.
Well, she's loving something.
So he's scamming a
She's loving the
POC
sale.
in the movie is what he's
scamming,
doing.
where he's stealing fat.
Fucked
from
up.
Liposuction.
There
clinic.
you go.
Oh, that when he cut it.
Hey man,
But
Tyler Durden
I just have
has
to
it
speak.
tough. He technically doesn't exist.
There's one part that was so stupid where it gets caught on the barbed wire, and
yes,
Tyler like puts his hands up to like catch it with his hands, and
Yeah.
I'm like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
just instinct, man.
It was so funny.
So Jennifer
She-
Coolidge would be
The blind.
because that's a comedic role. She'd kill it. I love the actors that they have in that role in
Okay.
the movie. They bring her back for little cameos in 2 and 3. But I'm going to give Jennifer Coolidge that role,
All right.
and we can go into our fourth criterion. That would be stats. Leonard, do you have the
Yes.
stats to talk
I
about
do.
Fight Club?
I do have the stats for Fight Club.
By the way, Lisa, none of these things have to factor into your ultimate decision at all. We just
I don't think the stakes are
like
very
going
high,
through.
but yes.
Oh, they've never been higher.
It made $101 million in the box office. This is one of those films where I think it fills the role of Edgelord movie very well. Is it didn't do well in the box office, but goddamn, those DVD sales went crazy.
Yeah,
Those-
edgelords love a cult
The
classic.
Edgelords love a cult classic. It is a 8.8 on IMDb. That's one of the highest ratings I think we've had
For Fight Club?
Yeah.
You
for
also
Fight
remember
Club.
like back then word of mouth was really big versus
Yeah.
now. I think like I'm sorry, I go off on tangents. I think the film industry now is too harsh because they think they're like, what's opening weekend?
Yeah.
Because there's no more word of mouth.
Yeah.
Fight Club did good because when it came out, people 6 months later were like, have you seen the movie? It's amazing.
And that's why Letterboxd is about to get destroyed because the big theaters, the big studios have found it and now are trying to use it like as part of advertising and whatnot. On Rotten Tomatoes, it is 80% from the reviewers, and from the audience, 96%.
That makes
Wow.
sense.
Wow.
And it did not win any awards. It was only nominated
The 20% was the black people being like, no black people in film and not understanding the theme.
That's usually Leonard dings a movie for not having
Oh,
black people.
there is a
but
black
in the case
bias
of
when
Fight
it
Club,
comes to ratings.
Then
It
you
is
should
crazy.
rewatch Equilibrium.
It's really crazy.
Just for
the
Tay
black
Diggs.
bias.
Tay Diggs.
And it was only nominated for sound effects, and did not win for the Oscars.
Interesting.
Okay. Yeah, not really an Oscars movie.
Yes.
Neither.
Neither one
Most
of
good
these. It's an
movies
excellent
aren't.
movie.
You would be surprised to
Yeah.
learn Deadpool also no Oscars. Deadpool came out in 2016, February 2016. It was made for just under $60 million.
Okay.
It made
Just under.
$780 million
Good
worldwide,
Lord.
which is like insane. I mean, I think a lot of that is obviously the superhero era that we were and still are living in. But the fact that it was an R-rated comedy, I think it was like The Hangover had
You said it cost
previously
$60 million?
$60 million.
Wow, Fight Club also cost $60 million. $63 million.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they,
that's
That's
what I
crazy. They
thought.
made that movie for
And
$60
now
million.
Marvel's has completely destroyed the studio's outlook on what's a successful film. If it doesn't make millions and millions, $100 million in a weekend, it's a flop
Yeah,
now,
it's
which
insane.
is such BS.
I'm curious, just for the sake of it, the second, this most recent one, this Deadpool,
we gotta kind of fly through this.
200 million and then made $824 million.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. What's the IMDb and the Rotten Tomato?
All right, the IMDb it was a 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10.
I don't even buy it. 8 out of 10 on IMDb, and then Rotten
Wow.
Tomatoes. Let's see. Real quick.
That's kind of surprising.
It is.
I'm gonna
But I
get
mean,
you
people
that,
love it.
and then Leonard, you should go in your final. 85%. America loves Deadpool.
Wow.
Okay.
Did.
Okay.
Have them
They
re-rate
did.
it
They
now.
they still do.
It's the number one movie in America has Deadpool in
All
it.
right, we are talking about Edgelord Movies. This is my final argument. This is to you, Lisa. I'm also talking to camera though. Listen, when I think of Edgelord, I think of misogyny. I think of people thinking that they know it all. They think that they're the smartest, strongest person in the room. This movie starts with the narrator. The first thing Edward Norton says is, somehow I realize all of this, the gun, the bombs, the revolution, is really about Marla Singer. He blames everything that happens in this movie on a woman. That's an Edgelord. I'm going to give you a couple quotes. Narrator, what do you do for a living? Why? So you can pretend like you're interested? That's the first thing he says to Edward Norton. That's some Edgelord
And he's
shit.
like, I want to fuck this guy.
Self-improvement is masturbation. Now, self-destruction, come on. I'm just giving you quotes. These are all, the things you own end up owning you. It's only after we lost everything that we're free to do anything. Tyler Durden goes into a convenience store, pulls the guy into the back of the parking lot, puts a gun to his head, asks him what his dreams are, tells him to go follow his dreams or he's going to kill him. And then he tells the narrator, Edward Norton, that I envy him because tomorrow's going to be the best day of his life.
And it's like,
The
oh my
breakfast
God.
he eats is going to taste better than anything he's ever tasted it before in his life. Edgelords love this movie. And another reason why I think this is the best Edgelord movie, they missed the point.
Absolutely.
They missed the point. This is not good. This is bad. He kills him in the end. He realizes that this is terrible. But everybody forgets about that. They say the studio made them change the end and this is that. This, by far, is the ultimate Edgelord film. Deadpool, I don't even need to... He's witty. He's creative. He's smart. He's hunky. He's sexy. Edgelords don't...
Yeah,
no.
he's so sexy in
Yeah,
Deadpool.
it's like,
So-
come on. It's nowhere near
Brad Pitt
Fight
is in
Club.
your film.
Okay. That's my argument. It had to be quick because we're short on time. This has been a good episode. We've been talking a lot.
Here we go. Deadpool. If you showed Fight Club to my mom, who's not an edgelord, has never spent any time on Reddit or Twitch or any of those the sites where edgelords can be found, she might love it. If you showed Deadpool to my mom, she'd say, "What the fuck is this? Get this shit out of my face. This is offensive and bad." Because Fight Club is an actual movie that everyone can enjoy. Deadpool, edgelords Absolutely. You've made a great case for it. I can't argue against it. Deadpool is a movie that edgelords kind of only like when I was rewatching, I was like, this isn't that good. This is a movie made for 13-year-olds to be edgy so that they can say on the playground when they're, because there's like a line where he's fighting the bad guy and he goes, all right, it's just fists then. And Ryan Reynolds goes, sounds like your Saturday night. And I'm just like, it's just humor for 13-year-old boys who think that it's the coolest shit in the world. And that's my argument.
That is very intense. I would say Fight Club because it's the first thing everyone thinks of.
Yeah.
But if we're going like how the modern day edgelord is, I would go with Deadpool. I think for the beginning of the edgelords of the internet, Fight Club 100%. Now, because of how I think simple-minded everyone is, I think Deadpool fits more of that criteria.
But for this episode,
Lisa, you can throw everything else away. You need to
Fight Club.
Whoa!
Thank God I got so worried for a second.
I had it for a second.
Woo! I got so worried for a second.
I didn't have this one.
Yeah, I know.
That's okay.
I was gonna say after all this, you choose Deadpool. I was about to be shocked.
Yeah.
Fight Club. That's
Absolutely.
Locking it in. You're sure?
Yes.
You can be edgy about it.
No.
Deadpool if you want.
That would be the edgiest thing you could do is pick Deadpool. Possibly.
Well, that's okay. I knew I wasn't going to get this one. I think we got a long way to go. This is one of 9 matchups this season.
1-0, baby.
We're back.
Shout out to Lisa Wallen.
Lisa,
Wallen,
thank you for talking about these
where can the people
movies
find you
with
on
us.
Twitch, on Instagram, on anywhere?
Twitch. My handles and everything is WISALALLEN.
Lisa
I'm like
Wallen.
cool, And
yeah,
then
across the board.
I'm currently on a mini comedy tour.
Yes.
So
They probably won't be able to see you in Portland by the time it's come out, but you're in San Francisco,
Chicago, Phoenix, and Gainesville, Florida.
And maybe
All the big ones.
And Seattle.
Maybe I'll be
My
featuring
hometown.
or opening for one of these. No, I'm
Ooh,
joking.
trying to talk
Maybe.
it into existence.
Well, we've talked about this before. Why do you think she's on the show? No, I'm joking.
Lisa, thank you
this is
so much
great.
for this wonderful prompt.
Yeah.
We got to talk about
We've
the
never
dregs
thought
of
about
the
this
internet.
prompt, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And I got to rewatch Fight Club,
Fight Lord.
Fight Lord, Fight Club, which I loved, and I had to rewatch Deadpool, and
It's
was
good.
long.
It's good.
Yeah,
It's good.
sure.
Fight Club is a classic. Deadpool
It is
like,
good.
you
Deadpool,
know,
it's
Yeah.
fun.
like it's not terrible.
Yeah.
It's just fine.
Yeah.
Nice. Love
Well,
it. This is really fun.
This has been Film versus Film.
And we will see you at the cinema.